Oh, welcome to the Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to Stream Street Day. John, actually, I don't know. John knows. John is the guy who works it out. I'm joined by Mr.
Don't put the pressure on me when I'm live.
I know, I'm so sorry. I'm joined by Mr. John Scrivens in the chat. He's joining me today to talk about what's on Warhammer Plus, which is really just me being like, I'm going to be live and talking to the Twitch chat. And John, because I've been painting 40k terrain. This is hopefully the very last week of long slog in my life, where but like that's where we're at. I'm joined by John Scrivens in the house. John, what's going on?
Yeah, really good. I'm actually not at work this week, which has been really nice because of the Super Series. I took some time off at the end of the month because I was like, I need to just not keel over and do a Rob.
You were tired?
I don't want to have to go to the hospital. I feel tired despite not really doing that much, but it's been good. Like I've actually done some painting. Like I painted some terrain as well yesterday, Rob.
What have you been painting?
A statue of St. Catherine, which is the most useless piece of 40k terrain, but it'll look cool.
What is it?
So it's the big angel statue for the sisters.
How big?
Hang on.
I don't believe him. While you go find it, you show me. I'm going to talk to the Twitch chat and say, "What up, Twitch chat?" Boop boop boop. Thanks for joining us live. Thanks to everyone who listens to the podcast. Hey, what if you listen to the podcast? You're like hydrated, healthy, you feel good, like you've got yourself some granola maybe, or like a Big Mac, any of those things. Somewhere between those two. And thanks everyone on YouTube, you big thugs. I hope you're all well. Thanks, by the way, Bobbin. I think I saw Bobbin donate £5 to the show. I just want to say thanks. And Disco Dolly for resubscribing. And Scrivo for resubscribing. Any of those things. Go on, John. Let me see.
There you go. Ba-ba.
That is useless.
There you go.
Is that for 40k terrain?
Useless. Yeah, it's 40k terrain. But it's cool.
Stick it on top of some useful 40k terrain.
Yeah. So it goes on top of a building because it's the Sisters of Battle Sanctum, their faction terrain, which is basically just a ruin with this on it.
Okay.
Next to it.
Are you going to put it on top of it?
I will. But I thought it was a nice excuse to use some different effects because I've put, I think the term is verdigris, which is all like the oxidization on the brass. That was fun to do.
Okay. All right. Nice. What did you learn? Did you learn a painting technique?
I learned how to make it not look shit, I think is the way, because it was using nihilide oxide. I should have used other paints and been clever, but I was being very cautious with it. So
okay, that's fair.
You know, it's like it's baby steps and all that. So
it is. I was doing some stuff yesterday. I did one set of terrain. You guys might see it in the far backhand corner there. I did a set of. So there's this incredible 40k design. I'm going to shout him out now for terrain called Sacrus Munda. Yes. Amazing stuff. And so that set is completely printed. In fact, actually, almost all of the 40k terrain here is going to have been done by Sacrus Munda, or would have been terrain sets that he's designed and then we've printed. So just super good. So that stuff I did in kind of green, but I haven't done any washes on it yet. That's to be done. But that was with an airbrush and just a paintbrush. I yesterday then watched Dark Fantastic Mill's video on sponging, and I've tried, does he have a website? Yeah, I'll find that. So I tried sponging on that piece of terrain over there, which was really awesome. That was good. I don't really love it at the moment, but I'm going to slap some classic Rob TM streaking grime all over that bad boy. We're gonna make that a load better. So is that the Necron stuff? The Necron stuff is still being printed. In fact, I'll go find it, John.
I found him. I found his Patreon. Don't you worry. Whilst you were talking.
Well, no, I just want to find have you got the link to the most recent Necron stuff, like the open post?
Yeah.
Yeah, put that in the chat. That is...
Oh, my days.
Isn't it good?
Chef's kiss. There's the Patreon link, guys.
So you guys should go check that out because, anyway, again, not sponsored or any of that jazz by this guy. Like, that's not... oh, no, I might have broke the stream by opening that.
It seems to be working.
Okay.
Seems to be okay, Rob.
But anyway...
Yeah, because what I like about his packs is if he does a theme, he then does basing to go with it. So if you're going for an army, like a Necron army...
Yeah, I did break the stream.
I think that's not really like kind of
Sorry, John. I completely lost you.
beautiful.
I lost you completely there. Give me another go on that one. What
Sorry, I
did
was
you say?
just talking. I was just saying the whole thing of getting the themed bases, matching the terrain and everything. I really like that as a kind of a pack that they do, because it's just like if you're building that army, you've got a theme and you're sticking to it, and then you've got a themed board to match your army, which is cool.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Johnson Necron. That's so damn good. I love those. Some new packs have L shapes too. Shadow Sun, me too. I've also got a bunch of Shadow Sun terrain. Is the other stuff that I have. But anyway, that's what I've been painting at the moment. And that Necron stuff looks, I think, baller AF. So big fan of that. Although probably not going to get time to get it all done like I would like. But over the next month to 2 months, I'm probably going to do. I'm doing 2 boards of Necron terrain anyway. But I'm going to do like an additional few from these new sets because they just look phenomenal, and I'm really happy with those. Thanks to Pragmatic for donating £29.69p to the show. Man, fuck yeah.
69. Nice.
I will use that probably on the cost of the first Warhammer Plus subscription. It'll probably cost about that. Thanks, Pragmatic. That's fucking super nice of you. Raising money for a new laptop. Not laptop, computer. Because it's...
Computer machine,
yeah.
to quote Nathan.
Anyway, John, the thing we were going to talk about was Warhammer Plus Twitch chat. I'm going to say hello to you. What do you think we're going to see today? You're a big comic guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, does the anime stuff like interest you, or do you think we're going to see? Like, where are you at? What do you think?
It sounds really interesting, but I think the worst thing they could have possibly done is put it behind a paywall that's exclusive to just their customer base.
Okay.
Like, to me, if you're going to do something that's kind of cool, vivid animation stuff that's kind of accessible, the last thing you do is hide it away, right? You put it on Netflix or somewhere like that, and then people stumble across it, and then you're getting them into the game, potentially, or at least curious. Like, look at The Witcher as an example. I would not have even bothered playing those games, but then I watched the program and went, this is pretty cool, and then got curious.
I agree with you. I think that there's some like business decision stuff that's like pretty poor. But do you know what? Like ultimately, like that doesn't bother me because I'm not their business, so I give a fuck, right? And I would say that for me personally, like I'm just quite excited about there being stuff for an existing customer. I.e.me. Yeah. Thanks Warhammer Rob for resubscribing. Big love to you. Servitor, the Holy City terrain looks amazing. Chris, yeah, everyone looking at that Sacrus Munda terrain. We'll include it in the show notes for the show for you guys at home to watch. But it's super worth looking at. But yeah, John, you're 100% right. 100% right. But
I think for us lot, it's cool, right?
Yeah, because
the established community is just going to get hyped up, and to me, I think it's a win for them because if we're watching a program about Tau, and then suddenly you start going, actually, I quite like Tau. I've never liked them before. I might go and buy some, and I think that's what their intent is there, and it's probably going to be quite healthy for them in that respect. People going, I'm going to start building some Eldar now. I like these. Ooh.
Dydrin says, after a week of issues getting my digital content in the 40k app, my ticket has been escalated to the technical team with no ETA. I feel kind of like I got put in the too hard pile today. And thanks Disco Dolly for donating £5.69 to the show. The guys are still just checking out that terrain. It's so good. It's so good, so worthwhile. If you have some printers to do the Sacrus Munda stuff, so really happy with that. Darker Design says, I'll pay vague attention until I find out how much the piss they're going to take about the price point. I mean, ultimately, like I like TV or videos is kind of the medium I best absorb stuff, and especially story-based stuff, basically. Learning I do better in person. But I'm just very excited about like just seeing some stories and whatever else it is. Like we could talk about the poor business decisions all day. It doesn't affect me. I'm actually pretty hype, to be honest. I think what's probably of major interest to me is what stuff they haven't announced that's going to be behind the paywall. And John, this kind of like ties into you as a retailer. I think is a kind of interesting question.
Yes, so, I've got a feeling that there's going to be a pre-order system to it.
Okay, talk to me about that.
So the whole queue system they set up to stop scalping and stuff, that's got multiple uses, right? You use it to stop people scalping big box set releases, but also you can do it so that your My Warhammer accounts related to being able to see specific products. So they could do like you get first dibs on stuff, especially limited edition things. I feel like they might be trying to push that bit in because then everyone's going to go, well, I'll do it just because I might want some of these cool things. And then you forget about it, right? You forget that you subscribed and you go, cool, done.
Yeah, like AOL. My nan's still paying for AOL discs, even now.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
That is a deep cut. There'll be like a couple of Zoomers who are like, what the fuck is he talking about? Sorry, Zoomers.
So far they've cut out books. So they've cut out people buying digital copies of actual books for 40k. The next step would be things like getting rid of Audible.
Well, okay, yeah, let's take them one at a time because I think that's also something worth talking about. But let's just go back to what you were saying before. So, being a subscriber and getting exclusive access or early access to
because they've already said exclusive models as well. So it'll be the situation where people will sub because they'll fear of missing out of getting a Catachan kernel level exclusive model, and we're all suckers for that. A lot of people are absolutely nuts. I know you're not, but the vast majority of the community go, "Oh, but I just want one because
it's
want
weird,
one."
Though.
That's the
it's
only logic
weird.
to it, right?
It's weird paying another 25, 30 quid. Like the consumerism. Like I don't want this to be that show because I think obviously we can all point fingers at ourselves, and definitely I can point fingers at myself in my life. So I just like to talk about it. But the over consumerism, I think, is weird. Like I love Christmas. Fucking love Christmas. Yeah? Muppet Christmas Carol, The Grinch. I get super into Christmas. I love Christmas. Christmas is my one, right? And then but I just think the over consumerism that we sometimes see inside the hobby, where people are really just trying to hit some endorphins by just purchasing a thing, is probably one of the. Yeah, it's filling a hole. I don't think it's. I just don't think it's very healthy. No. And I think I've got the limited edition new Space Marine. You're like, dude, he looks the same, man. Do you know what I mean?
It's like when they did, what was it? Was it the 30th anniversary Sergeant they did, and it was just an intercessor with an extra couple of purity seals, and everyone's like, what?
But they bought them!
That, won't it? And people bought them. They sold out. And just like, what? This is just madness. It's not like when they do a new orc sculpting, like, cool, as an orc player, this is something for me. But like a weird Catachan mod, I'm like, cool, pass.
Yeah, I think we should talk about that a bunch. Hey, Smorgan, what's up? I buy them and then flip them for twice as much shortly after. Smart play. Hey, Grot Gang, thanks, Gitley, for resubscribing. Big love to you. Shugo says, if I want an exclusive model, I'd kit bash one like the Free Guild General and Griffin. I'm converting to Lumineth. There you go, Shugo. I know Games Workshop isn't interested in healthy, but The Honest Wargamer is a community. All of you are, I would like to think, a community that I'm a part of. We're a community. John's a community. And so it's worth just having that conversation out in public that, that exclusive access to just one random new Space Marine is a little jarring to me. Because I think it's unhealthy. But, ultimately, I think there's a good business decision, and I think that's definitely something they're going to do, especially for early pre-orders.
Yeah.
And pre-orders are also something. Right? Pre-orders are also something that's weird to me, because because they've unfortunately over the past year, because of stock issues, they have created a FOMO problem, right? Like a fear of missing out issue, where you're worried. Me and John are orc players, right? So we want to get. I'm not too bothered about the Beast Snagger box for the models. So this is the upcoming Orc box, but I am very, very concerned that I might not be able to get myself a physical copy of the Orc Codex, and it's only inside of that. And then we've also seen that there is no longer any physical copies of digital copies of Age of Sigmar books, or we haven't seen yet. Maybe tonight's where we're going to hear about it, where you pay to be part of Warhammer Plus, and then you can get digital copies of books. Because obviously they've removed them in 40k, which is huge, right? They must have made a shit ton of sales, John, on that platform. So I'm assuming that they're going to have... That would be kind of the thing that I'd like to talk about next, is I assume that we're going to see digital books announced again behind Warhammer Plus. That's my assumption, right?
And it'll be, you asked for this and we listened. And it'll be like, cool, but you took them away. But they'll come out as the hero to some people, I imagine. It's kind of good, right? At least there is an opportunity to then get the books, whilst before 0. Because at the moment, if you want to read the narrative, you have to have a physical book. If you want to read the lovely story behind a faction and understand them from that standpoint, you have to buy a book. And that's a bit of an obstacle. If you're not near to a shop, or it takes a while for things to ship because of all the shipping issues, it's not, you can't have such a knee-jerk reaction and go, right, I'm gonna maybe dip into this army. So it's actually something that will benefit them in the long term, having the digital again.
Yeah. I think digital's a good platform, but I think one of the weird things is it'll be locked behind a paywall. Does anyone know what the situation is with iTunes and Apple anyway? Right, like iTunes and Google Play. Like if I buy something on the Play Store, do I own it forever, or like what if the app goes? Is it all gone?
It's a license. I believe you've got a license to use it. So some of the stuff's very even like Amazon Prime videos and stuff. You've only got a license to watch it. Doesn't mean you actually own it. It's like technically DVDs are the same. You've got just a license to record to play that disc. It's very
oh really
flimsy. It's not actually ownership.
Oh, weird. Okay. Let me just see what everyone in the chat's saying. Oh, the book's an important part of the independent store business. This is kind of why John's great to have on the show about it. I'll talk about that in a minute. That's a bit like heading out to a shop to buy something only to have to pay at the door to get access to it. Although
nightclubs.
Although
like a nightclub.
Yeah, nightclub. As a nightclub promoter,
I'm super. How good it's going to be.
I'm super on board with that. I'm super on board with that. Like, hey, can I come in and buy a beer? If you pay me money to come in and buy a beer, why? I don't know. They've just let me decide that's the decision.
Yeah.
I think it would be. I was thinking yesterday it would be nice as Marty Ahoy. They've been ages since I heard Scrivo on the show. Welcome, Batman. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. I've avoided it.
Should go. I wouldn't mind paying like 20 quid or something for this sub if I got access to all the content, give me access to all the books. Okay, so Warhammer Plus sounds a lot like Season Pass. Don't pay for a promise, says the Chef of Legend. I think that's fair. Okay, John. So exclusive access to models and then potentially a paywall for digital books. Now, there's only one way that you can currently get digital books right now, and that's via Audible, just like you suggested. So... Yeah. Do you think I feel like if they're cutting out iTunes and they're cutting out book sales, I think they're 100% cutting out Audible. Do you agree?
They know that we all have gone absolutely nuts for that, and like we all sub and don't even think about spending £7-8 a month to get one book per month, and you just pile them up. And if they could have that instead, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think Audible is. That but then will they take stuff off Audible? Because if they will, I'm thinking
so.
Really,
and then everyone loses that, and that will be cataclysmic. Because they've done that before when they the Dark Imperium book, when they were rewriting that, they just took it down and didn't tell people why. So people they're going, I've paid for this book, I want to listen to it.
Wait, what's the situation?
So they rewrote the timeline in the Dark Imperium books, and they've only just released the third one. Do you not hear about this?
No, I think I heard about it, but could you re-explain it? Could you re-explain it to the crowd?
So, from my understanding, originally the campaign that it's featured in it was meant to be set over 200 years, and they then realised, shit, we've made this timeline too long, and then I think they've ramped it down to just 5. But then it meant the tweaked bits in that book, book 2, Plague War, they then tweaked a little bit, and then they've finally released the third one. And poor Guy Haley, the author. If you ever saw his Twitter feed, it was just constantly people going, "Where's my book on Audible?" And it's just like, oh, grow up. It's just like, it's not going to be him that's making the decisions. He's just the writer.
I didn't know
that. Yeah, and it was. I think it's because they then pushed it so that it was past the Indomitus Crusade.
Yeah, but they can't take the things that you've bought off Audible off you. They just will stop you buying new things, basically.
I think they can remove books from Audible, though.
No, they can't.
Because they did with that one, so... I'd like to be proven wrong, Rob, because I've got a lot of books on Audible.
There's no way. No way.
It'd be very bad publicity for them, I think, more than anything.
What, if I spend hundreds of pounds on Audible books, and then they just take them off? There's no way that that's happening, I would say. There we go. Everyone else has the previous versions on Audible.
Oh, good. But you couldn't re-download it, I guess is the difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't download it, and I was like, "Fuck, I haven't got it. It's sat in this hole. I own it, but I don't own it," which is really frustrating.
The Battlefield Gothic game was removed from Apple Store when I upgraded my iPad. I lost it. Well, even if you paid for it, shut up. They can't remove the stuff you bought from Audible. Yeah, Gitley, I'm with you. Thank you. They may give Audible owners a free copy of Warhammer Plus.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thanks. Well, I think because I'm going to probably later on today, because I've got quite a few Audible credits, because just like you, like everyone, it just ticks around in the background, right? It's one of those things because it's just so worthwhile. So especially, have you ever, before, something you might not remember, but before Games Workshop actually put the books on Audible, did you ever see how expensive each audio book was on the Black Library web store?
40, 50 quid, some of them, depending on length. They weren't cheap.
Insane money.
And you'd buy them on CD at Warhammer World, which is just like, cool. Why would I ever buy a 4 CD audiobook?
Yeah. $50 dues a pop. Correct, Born Again Man Child. So that's dollary do money. But I'm probably gonna spend today going a bit nuts on Audible and just downloading them all. I think.
Yeah, there is a desktop app for Audible, so you can put it on your computer if you want to as well.
Yeah, it's really good. I struggle a lot actually with audiobooks and always have done. But I keep downloading the audiobooks because I'm like I'm going to spend the rest of the day painting, and I'm like, cool. And I have been slowly grinding through Penitent.
Nice.
Which has been really good. I'm just bad at audiobooks. I get too restless. I think I don't know why. Yes Meatball says nothing stopping them leaving the books up for some purchase on Audible to catch new people and offering them as a sub on Plus. Yeah, maybe I don't think they'll all be available on Warhammer Plus, like you pay your subscription. This is kind of where it brings me to the next point. Do you think that there'll be different tiers for this Warhammer Plus, John? Or do you think it'll be question. Because I mean, so there's kind of a devil you do, devil you don't, right? What's the question? Why did Ian Banks just come up? I've got like 9 Audible tokens spend, need to it sooner. Ian M. Banks, 100%. The Culture War series. Hermanista, not Ian Banks, Ian M. Banks. Although it's the same author, but these
same author,
stuff.
But when he does sci-fi, he puts an M in his name, right?
Yeah, do that. Or Peter F. Hamilton is another suggestion from me if you want. The Night's Dawn trilogy is my favourite series of books. Just a quick FYI. But anyway, my point is so let's say I want access to the 40k app, John, right?
Yeah.
And only that. Yeah? 50, let's call that £5, which it is now, right? But then I also want the Age of Sigmar app. Another £5 or £5 for both. Then the animations, right? I want the animations. Okay, that's 15 quid. But then do I buy the app on top? Is that 20 quid? Is it 30 quid all in?
Pointed out how they're going to do it. They're gonna do it where you've got 3 apps, because they don't want to assume everyone's going to want it, but also if they can rinse a little bit of money out of someone by having both apps, job done.
What do you mean? Do you think it'll be pay per? You think it'll be pay per?
It'll be subscribed for the 2 systems apps, and then it'll be like an Amazon Prime, Disney Plus level subscription for Warhammer Plus separate to that, which gives you different stuff.
Okay.
So maybe by having Warhammer Plus, it opens up having things like, I know this isn't going to be a thing in Age of Sigmar 3, but as an example, like the way that you get War Scroll battalions currently in Azir, if you've got the book. So having that sort of level of content unlocked for you by having Warhammer Plus. So the extra bits that you didn't normally get, but in the app that isn't related to it, if that makes sense. So it'll be all based on your My Warhammer account. I can see that's what they'll do. They'll just do all this weird kind of, you look at it and go, fuck it, I'll get all 3.
Okay.
And then they've got 15 quid coming out of your bank rather than just a tenner. And then you forget that you're subscribed, and then 6 months down the line when you've not used any of the apps, you're still paying for it.
I don't know. I think it's interesting, right? Because I think if they give themselves, because it's in an interesting place, where are you going to put each one of those price points? Or are you going to give everything away cheaply for a tenner a month? And it's like you get everything all in which case, amazing, right?
Well
yeah, you get the 40k app, the animations, any other content, whatever, your exclusive access to the web store, that's going to be a tenner. Or is it going to be I don't know. I just think
I can't see them producing enough video content to justify that in its own right having its own subscription service. Because you look at Disney Plus, and the minute they've not got the latest and greatest Star Wars program or a Marvel program, people will unsubscribe.
yeah.
And that's a company with such a vast repertoire of content, and Games Workshop are nowhere going to ever compete with that. So they're going to really struggle to retain people just purely on the animation. So I think that is going to be part of multiple different things that all combined make it as a whole.
Okay. All right. Let me just says. Agreed. This is what. Do you think we're going to see White Dwarf get attacked on? Colonel Cabbage. I play on fashionably armies. I get one book every 3 years. I doubt they can make a good service enough to appeal to me. Interesting. A subservice that's good enough for him. Okay, but like, don't you want to watch the stories? I want to watch the stories, right? The animations. I mean, they look a bit rubbish. Like
they
that's
look varied. I think there's
John.
Some of them I look at and go, that looks like
John.
a early 2000s
John.
Dawn of War
John.
entrance video.
I get it. You and me, if we could, me and John, we'd still be wearing some baggy jeans and we'd be shocking out to Limp Bizkit, right? But that doesn't mean it was the height of class. It doesn't mean it's the height of class, John. Yeah,
I hate Limp Bizkit.
You hate Limp
Take
Bizkit.
that
Fred Durst is making a comeback, with the Zoomers.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
He's probably a Republican as well.
What's your problem with Fred Durst, man?
Because it's all about the money.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, I was more of a Corn player. I like Corn.
So just a quick one. Kill Panic, who's in the chat, is asked for a sidebar on the best Peter F. Hamilton to get into, and I've suggested the Night's Dawn trilogy, which is my favourite sci-fi trilogy of all time. It's incredible. Reality Dysfunction, which is the first one, is 41 hours long. What is this? Lord of the Space Rings. If it helps you out, Kill Panic, I read a little bit of background. It took him 10 years to write the trilogy, and it's super worthwhile. It's like it's the Lord of the Rings in space, effectively. Only there are like organic ships and all sorts of stuff, and it's fucking wicked. So if you do that. Limp Bizkit is the worst. Says Tomb King Tristan. Listen, Limp Bizkit had their place.
Yeah, in the bin.
You haven't tried DJing to drunk people at 2 a.m. Yeah, the energy's getting a bit low. They need something coming up, and there's nothing like rolling. Yeah, all right. That's not my fault you drink. Yeah, you're stupid. You're dancing to it. I put that on at 2 a.m. and you're pissed, John. You're dancing. No question.
I know, and that's why I don't drink anymore, Rob.
Right,
to that level, because no one needs to see me dancing to rolling. And that's a promise, because it's not dancing. It really isn't.
Okay, well, let me know, Kill Panic, how you feel about it. So anyway, and we know what's everyone in the chat said. Collar says that you're dead to him, and I think that's super fair. What else are we expecting from this? So exclusive
minis. I think one of the teasers they showed saying his how many days till this preview that we're all so hyped for. I think yesterday's one was a silhouette of a model. So I think there's going to be some sort of Chaos Space Marine. So that we might finally get some new Chaos Space Marine stuff for the first time in a couple of years.
Yes, we might see that. How do you feel? So now this relates to you. How do you feel as a store owner, going back and looking over a couple of these little things? Number one, how do you feel about exclusive models that like don't really benefit or help your store? I guess that's already happened already, so you don't give a shit,
Yeah.
or
It's frustrating because, like, good example, Dominion. They pushed, so their sales team push us as retailers, like, come on guys, stock this. We'll sell loads of it together. It'll be great. Here's some exclusive stuff you can have to help sell it that we'll have in our shops as well. But don't worry, our online store is going to have some exclusive stuff that we'll offer people, so we'll snipe sales from you. And they've done that a lot.
right?
And it does great. I've got to admit, like, even if it's something shite, really, like, realistically, 6 gold little coin things for command points are not something that's going to change your gaming experience. But people are still, I've got to order it from them because I need those. It was the same with 8th edition 40k. People are like, I want the tracking things. It's like, no one ever uses them. The joke's on them. They paid full price for something that they didn't need. And that stings. As a retailer, you're like, cool. So you snipe, and I think that's the problem. They're getting to this point where in the 90s they did this with independent retailers, where they pushed it so hard that they had to stock so much, but then they'd still have exclusive stuff, and that caused a lot of kind of butting heads. And I think we're going to get to that point now where there's going to be the situation where, like Be'lakor as an example, I couldn't get a copy of Be'lakor, the actual model, ordering on the first day I could order it, but my local shop that opened a week later had 5 copies of him.
So is that good or not good?
Well, it means that they've been keeping stock for themselves.
But then it's okay.
It's that weird situation, right? Where
can I say something that I haven't said on air yet, and it's been bubbling at the surface for a while, and I want everyone to take this the right way. So I'm going to try and be really specific about it. All right? Okay. Stores who purely exist, or only exist. Okay, let me get popcorn. Stores that purely exist or only mainly exist because of the profits that they make from selling Games Workshop product as a third-party retailer have set up a bad business.
Correct.
Yeah, right? Because, like, at any point, they can just remove the product. Like, so, like, I don't understand. I think it's a bad setup for a business. I think, like, only this is only Games Workshop specifically, because, I mean, it's kind of the market leader. I think in a load of other ways, you aren't really, like, if you, John, actually, you're a retailer, so you'll be able to give me better experience of this. You know, when you get in other game systems stuff, does that more feel like it's like a flavor, like?
You try it, and it's like it's interesting for me because I'm primarily a toy shop, so outside of the Games Workshop stuff and a little bit of Magic and tons of Pokemon, we don't really go into kind of the hobby side of things. But my kind of dabbling with it, like I tried Star Wars Legion, I tried Marvel Crisis Protocol, put them on the shelf. People are really excited, but they don't ever come back for it. So it's one of these weird things that unless you've got that diversity as your business model, you're going to struggle anyway. Like, have you ever seen railway shops recently? Comic shops, they don't tend to just sell comics. They all diversify because they need it. You can't just be a hobby shop that only sells one product range because it's just bad business.
I think it's bad business.
The ones that
it's
like,
and also, why wouldn't you sell Vallejo as well as Games Workshop paints? Do you know what I mean? Or like whatever, like but not only the choice. Why wouldn't you sell arguably in some ways better products?
Better paint, So a good example of that is you go to Farstorm Games. They have some toys. They sell lots of different card games. They sell every type of wargaming figure you could imagine, and loads of different hobby stuff. And you go in there, and it's an overwhelming experience, and that is what you want to go and see.
Yeah.
You don't want to go in and go, like, cool, you got some Magic cards, you've got a handful of graphic novels, and oh look, you got the Warhammer default stand, which cost you $5,000 of stock that eventually will sell great.
Yeah. Anyway, I think the take for that is not to criticize local gaming stores at all. I just think relying on, like, if it's like we're going to go out of business because we only mainly make money off Games Workshop stock is a weird take. Like, and it's a weird business strategy to go along. It would be my argument, right? And then I guess kind of my follow-up from that is that diversification, like you said, is really useful. But, like, if it's stuff that people aren't going to buy, like, which I think is also one of those things, one of those issues, like when you get into bed with Games Workshop, because they're going to sell you sometimes just like a pile of shit, like, and hope that you resell it, right? And maybe the difference of selling a couple of boxes, not a couple of boxes, is actually quite a big deal, you know. And I'm sure everyone wants you to stock their stuff, but why wouldn't you? And also, I don't know why local gaming stores aren't just becoming 3D printer factories. I really don't see it. Like, I honestly like if I owned a local gaming store now, I'd just be like, cool, I'm not going to buy the next Games Workshop set of stock, whatever that is. I'm going to put that all into 3D printers and just start printing shit that people want. So, like, that's where I'm at, right?
And the interesting fact is, if that is your business model, as a markup, their range is not the most exciting.
Oh, you don't make a ton of money on the markup.
No, the markups, it's all right, but some of the toys that we sell, for example, are like 60-70% off, and that's our shite toy markups. Games Workshop stuff's only just over 50. It's not great. It's not great. So if that's your entire business model, one order too many, you're in trouble.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway, the only reason I bring it up is because I don't know how relatable it is. It's like Audible, right? Audible are never going out of business with Games Workshop taking their stuff off of them. Yeah, no. They're smashing it. They're doing great.
It's Amazon.
But I also think I think that disconnect between local gaming stores and Games Workshop is something that's going to come more to the front in the future. You might want to for your hobbyists, you might want to stock resin bases, but they're not usable at Games Workshop tournaments anymore, right? So your business for I don't know. I just think there's a lot there, and I think ultimately the disenfranchising of local gaming stores away from Games Workshop as much as possible is actually better for the hobby. Yeah, for the hobby. And the reason I say that is because I think that you can either get more for your money or you can spend less for your money in your local gaming store, and you can get better products, be they battle mats, terrain, paint, brushes, what else do we use? Glue, flock.
Yeah, all these things. And quite often, even
everything
if you're buying
other
the
than
latest
minis,
GW things, even if you are buying the latest GW stuff, they still win if you buy it from your local guy. That's the thing. So if you are going into a shop and exploring all the different ranges, if you're still wanting to pick up the latest Battle Tome, and you did, if you're buying the Tufts from that guy that aren't Games Workshop ones, no one's losing. Everyone's winning, including you buying it. So
yeah, Tufts, that's the one.
Yeah, exactly. Tufts are the best.
Right. Anyway, so Warhammer Plus seems like it's going to be an interesting thing, and it will definitely also give us an indication of where what they plan to do for the next few years. Like if I was a local gaming store, I would be keenly interested in what they're doing. Right.
Yeah, it makes me a little bit curious whether it's going to push less sales on books, because locally I found that there was a slight fatigue in books. The whole Psychic Awakening pushing books out seemed to have an impact on how quickly people picked up the Be'lakor, kind of all the Broken Realms stuff. So I feel like a lot of time now people are going to be apprehensive to buy books, and that won't necessarily punish Games Workshop as much as the little guy that only will get in one copy. If that one copy sits there until it's not actually a viable book, it's completely dead stock.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about the books. Yeah, you get made to buy books. You don't get made to buy books, right?
Like a good example is when the first Lumineth book came out.
Yeah.
To buy the dice, because people wanted the dice, to limit how much people bought the dice, it was for every 2 books you got 1 set of dice. I've got 2 of that Lumineth book on my so I've got 2 of that Lumineth Battle Tome on my shelf because of the dice I needed for customers.
But you didn't need them 3 months later. You just tell the customers to fuck off.
That's my job though, selling stuff to customers. If they ask for something, I get it in for them. And then I was like, it's fine, this book's got a few months on it. 3 months later, we're in lockdown. 3 months after that, they released a new book. Who could have known?
Well, I mean, who could have known? You now. But I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, so you guys, so local gaming stores must have a bunch of books that they buy that then eventually go out of date and they can't sell, right?
The first stinger for that was people would come in asking for the indexes in 8th edition.
Right.
And it got to a certain point in the edition, obviously, as books became more and more, everyone had a codex, there was a definite time where they weren't needed. But you still had people asking, until GC the Cults came out, you'd still get people asking for that specific one. Not that often, but then you'd get shops that would have a couple of these left.
Right,
that stings. Okay. If that happens every kind of couple of months, you get something like that sits there. It just sits there.
With the retail theory by Rob, you tell the customers to fuck off.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know.
And that's why Rob was a DJ and a club event manager instead of a shop manager.
Can I wear these sandals inside, mate? No, fuck off. Why?
What about these sliders? I've got socks on.
It's not my fault. There's glass on the floor. Although mainly glass on the floor isn't really much of an issue anymore. because there's a lot of like perspex and stuff, but that's a different conversation. Doesn't matter. Element are trying to flog the OG Lumineth book for a $5. Says Shugo. Do you not get store credit? Someone's saying you get store credit for. Can you return the stock?
So it's not on sale or return. The only so when you see in like any little shop, they've got that little stand of Games Workshop stuff. That is the Foundation range.
Right.
Basically, if anything gets taken out of that, you get a credit for that one thing. So, for example, say Codex Space Marines is always in that.
Okay.
Each month you have to guarantee to them that you've got the stock. You say to them, yeah, we don't need a top up. We've got all the bits that are in that. Fine. Then when they say, right, this month Space Marines Codex is going, you give them the barcode off the back of it and you get a credit for it. You then have to stock the new one though.
Right. Okay. Oh, so if it's core range stuff, they'll reimburse you.
Yeah. But it's dependent on the level of shop you are. So they've got about 4 different levels of it, including the paints. So
please tell me that they're based on like animal names. Like the top one is like Space Marine or something.
No, they're like Foundation and Advanced and 360.
Boring. Come on, you're doing something in world.
Sorry, Rob. This is really exciting. But fun fact, I don't think the sales team generally actually play the game. They're normally bilingual people that have no interest in the game.
They're like the Wolf of Wall Street. I've met them all.
They're terrifying. They're lovely people, but not when they've cornered you and they go, "You want more Dominion boxes, don't you, John?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, but the other thing is, and I want to make sure everyone knows that I'm not dunking on local gaming stores, and in fact, it's the opposite. I would like to see local gaming stores flourish. I actually think versus Games Workshop, their brick and mortar stores are probably in a really bad position, and I think local gaming stores. Previously, local gaming stores were tied to manufacturers for their products. Doesn't matter if it's Warhammer, Bolt Action, whatever. Local gaming stores can now seize the means of production via 3D printing, and they have the capacity to do that. Really, I see local gaming stores, like I saw Gorka Morka say earlier in the chat, becoming places where you play and you have some food and you drink and you hang out, and like the store element is much more to do with like I almost see them as like bars and clubs. Maybe that's just because it's my personal, like me approaching that in that way, but I feel like that's the future for local gaming stores, because also like they're like out in bumfuck nowhere. Like if you're in like whatever island Tristan's on in the middle of Canada, no one's going to give a fuck what you're doing. You can print all the terrain that you like and make it so it's wicked for, you know, the people in the like in your little area. You can 3D print models from designers who you've got the rights to print from. I'm not saying rip off Games Workshop. I'm saying print other models. And someone's like, hey, there's these space warriors that I've printed. Can I use these Marines? And the guy's like, fuck yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's mental that, especially from like a game of fantasy, John. Like I've got some little Murlocs. I don't know if that's really the right description,
Murlocs,
but you know anglerfish and Murlocs.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a 3D, fully 3D printed Idneth army, and my thralls are just going to be these fucking sweet ass 3D printed like Murloc dudes, yeah, with little angler eye and stuff.
You're going to have a little audio box that just does the Murloc voice every time you move them. Just...
Yeah. But my point is, like, it's going to look fucking rad, right? It's going to look rad. Hey, John's wife!
Oh, God, I've got a wife on me.
Okay, that means we've got to go.
Famous.
We got to go. You are famous. That's correct. You've helped John live.
You can go now. Did you buy the toilet roll, dear? Good, there you go.
But anyway, my point is, John, is that I'll never be able to take that 10 minutes down the road to the Games Workshop, right? Because Warhammer World, because that's where I am. But I could play at my venue forever. And I could go to, like, an event pretty much anywhere in the world, unless they're a fucking arsehole. Yeah. And they'd be like, that's a cool theme. And
you're in a very unique place, though, Rob. By being in Nottingham, you're actually very close to the problem. Whilst for me, it's only if I want to go to a GW event at Warhammer World or travel up there. Generally, it's not even a thing. Like, for most of us, it's just like, cool. Not needing to have third-party things doesn't really factor in my hobby at all.
How do you mean?
Unless I want to go to Warhammer World. And that's the only time I'd ever... And I hate to tell you this, Rob. I've been in Warhammer World playing casual games with Cromlech backpacks. no one said anything, even at their events.
Well, you can get on the hobby roundup, can't you, with all the 3D printed models?
With the 3D printed models,
someone did that recently, didn't they? They had their 3D printed
heresy
models.
stuff, wasn't it?
Some heresy stuff. Uh-oh.
Oopsie. It's all good.
Indie shops need an indie tournament scene that allows printed pieces on resin basis as Disco Dolly. I'm with you. I think that's also true. I don't get why you would ever go to a Games Workshop event.
Circuit.
Huh?
A UK tournament circuit for over here. That'd be good. With Zach points.
I'm seeing him on Friday.
Oh gosh.
If everyone just to the Games Workshop tournament pack, then they strangle the markets as Disco Dolly. But not everyone will. Like, and I won't. So even if I've got to be the last holdout, the last brown coat at the edge, yeah, on Serenity, I'll do it. Right, John, you got to go. So it's been lovely talking to you.
Indeed. It's been great. I'm curious to see what happens as a result of this.
We'll be doing a live show, a
it.
live react tonight, 6 p.m.
I'm bummed I can't be there, but unfortunately, I'm playing Warhammer.
Well, that's probably better, to be honest.
I'm probably going to be less. In fact, no, I'm probably not going to be as disappointed because I know that I'm going to get my face pushed in by the new AdMech, so it's fine. It's fine.
You'll have a great time. Enjoy yourself. Yeah. So yeah, we'll be doing a live Warhammer. We'll be doing a Honest Wargamer Plus for Warhammer Plus.
Oh, God.
So that'll be later tonight. So join us at like 5:30. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for the subscriptions. Thanks for being on the Honest Wargamer Twitch, and also Patreon. Thanks.
Sweet.
And podcast guys, stay hydrated. Bobbin, thanks for the donation, by the way. Loads and loads of love. I'll see you guys later. Thanks, John. John, you got any shout outs before we go?
Shout out to Smorgan.
Okay.
Because I'm enjoying some of his interactions on the Twitter sphere. It's been quite fun.
Hey, there we go. And I'm out because I can't dunk. Loads of love. Thanks for listening to Honest Wargamer. See you soon.